let's touch down on the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Just this evening, they defeated New Zealand by 3-0. Have 3 different scorers on the night. Of course, you had Disciplinary for the first time since 18 months. I mean, she hasn't played for Nigeria, but then she was able to get, she scored the 3rd goal in the 94th minute. And of course, the first goal scored by Captain Fantastic Onomebi. And then you have the 2nd goal. Jennifer Chejine happens to be her first goal for the national team. Remember when she was invited against, when we were in Canada, yes, when the Falcons played the Invitational in Canada, that's the first time she made her debut. But this is her first goal for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Of course, Coach Waldrum, he's a happy man tonight. I mean, after that series of losses he suffered, and everyone, even April Fool, was all about him. I mean, people posted on Twitter that he has left his position, and then he have consortium of coaches that he's taking over. By the end of the day, he's been able to, you know, string results together as we get into the FIFA Women's World Cup. Let's just take a listen to, of course, Austin and Shegun, who reacts to this.
Well, the exciting thing about that is anytime a player gets to play for their country and they get their first goal, it's the one they always remember. And the good thing about that is the build-up to that goal was absolutely brilliant. And the interplay, the cross and the finish was world-class. And so she'll remember that goal for a long time. But she's really come on in the last year since we first brought her into camp against Canada. And she just continues to get better and better. So I was really happy for her that she finally found the net. You know, I think it's probably still a B. I mean, it's, you know, we got the 3 goals and we got the clean sheet. So I guess maybe I'm a little harsh with that grade. But there's still so many things that we can improve on and do better. And so I think we'll get there. But I think that the good thing is, like I said, these last 2 camps we've been building, and it's gotten better and better. And this is what we needed leading into camp before the World Cup. Next, we'll go into a camp, a training camp, for a few weeks prior to heading over to Australia. And that'll give us a good chance to work out some of these things I mentioned earlier, some of the shape and some of our passing quality and some of our movements. It'll help us with that. But we're getting there. We were much better in both games with those things this camp.
Yeah, you heard what he said. I mean, he praised the team much better, but he wants them to do better. And the fact that the captain, Onomebi, was the one who scored the first goal, 34th minute. Then before you had Jennifer Chejine scoring the 48th minute. Of course, Zell Barnes, when she came on as a substitute, and she had to consolidate and ensure that Nigeria 3 wins, 3 in a row, 3 goals.
Yeah, everything is 3-3-3-3.
Yes, it all works. And 6 goals they scored.
There are no 3 points. Anyway, there's see the air of beauty from the coach. We was talking, you know, there was that calmness. I have to tell you that because he won, of course.
Yeah, they actually played better today.
Yeah,
I mean, the synergy that they had, that would be
especially against the highest seeded team. What do you expect from such? I think over the years, we've always had talent. You know, we have players come along the line from yesteryears, and we winning yesterday was another. Today, I mean, it's another step forward in the right path. Of course, looking at what happened before, like I said earlier on, the coach is happy, the players are happy, scoring goals from abandon, and pushing forth that chemistry, that winning mentality into the tournament. Of course, we went to the tournament also to meet other bigger dogs, the likes of America, the likes of England. We saw, was it not Phil Neville? Was it Phil Neville? Yeah. What Phil Neville did with the English side. So, and I believe that these are more traditional sides with America, even with New Zealand, a couple of other sides here and there. How do we play against those sides? Because for you to be the best, you have to beat the best. And Nigeria, of course, we've had a great pedigree along the line, especially in Africa, and of course in national competitions. I believe that these wins can lead us into that right momentum. Okay. Especially going into that tournament 100 days from now.
All right, Austin, I mean, you listen to Coach Randy Waldrum. He's actually a happy man, especially with that second goal. The synergy he had between the players. Alozie was able to cut in right there and, of course, got the goal. Jennifer, she was right there. Put it on, and it was a well-worked goal, you say.
I totally agree. It was a good goal, and the coach, described it so well. But Cecilia, you see, he also found a way to tell us that this team is still work in progress and there's still a lot of work to be done. And that's my job. My job is to, create the balance. Let him know that, yes, this is a friendly game. We're counting down to July the 20th when the real action will begin at the Women's World Cup. It's a symbolic win for the Super Falcons, and I love it. They achieved it on a day we're celebrating 100 days to go to the Women's World Cup. It's their third consecutive win. 6 goals in 3 matches. They've conceded just 1. This is good for progress. It's good for analysis. But as I said, you can tell that now he's beginning to listen. I'm sure Randy Waldrum listens to me on this show, They're beginning to listen. So they're playing as a team. You see that Jennifer's goal. You could tell it was a beautiful teamwork goal. And you could tell he saw the beauty of play from Michelle Alozie. Let's go to the back. Onoma AB is leading as a captain that she should be, and scoring goals. Now, no one is complaining about her experience or age. When you do well as a team, people will follow you. People will commend you. But we don't want, when you now get into the main competition, and we're not seeing this sort of play, you can tell that in the last 3 games that they've recorded 3 wins, today against New Zealand was a better performance. And it was clear because they have learned from other games. That's what playing games before World Cups can do, before a major tournament can do for you. So shout out to the Super Falcons. I love this win. I love the fact that Desire Okparanozie got in and scored a trademark goal. That's what she's used, she's known for. When she's inside that box, she's very dangerous. I want to wish Randy Waldrum all the best. Do all you can to improve, sustain the momentum. Don't go to the World Cup and start acting like a college coach. This is the Super Falcons of Nigeria, the pride and joy of African football. We've been going to this tournament since 1991, and we've got world-class players. When they go to the World Cup, we should see a world-class performance.
And of course, input from the bench, a world-class input from the bench. Yeah. Nigeria, the Super Falcons of Nigeria will be facing the Republic of Ireland. And of course, you have Canada in there. I mean, Australia, the co-host nation. So it was fine that we actually beat New Zealand. So we'll go into the World Cup knowing that, yes, the Super Falcons can score goals and also keep clean sheets. That's very important. All right, let's move on to NWFL, talking about Nigerian Women's Professional Football League, of course, talking about match day 13. We know how it all started for Edo Queens and Rivers Angels and Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens. So you have just one team that booked a ticket for the Super 6. That happens to be Delta Queens, the only team that remained unbeaten throughout the season. Just 2 more games to go, of course. There is where you have the fixtures for this midweek. Osho Babes and Bayelsa Queens will be in action. Niger Rattles and Delta Queens, they're going to Abuja. When Rivers Angels went there, they got all 3 points and they came to Port Harcourt with them. Rivers Angels and Heartland Queens will be in action. Now, this game will be played at the newly refurbished Adokie Simaka's Stadium because they had to write to NWFL for them to be able to use that stadium. Of course, that permission has been granted. That's where the game will be played. It's going to be the first match there, and hopefully they get to have a win. You also have the game between Confluence Queens and Nasarawa Masons. That's in Group B. Adamawa Queens and Abia Angels will also be in action. Edo Queens will be hosting Ibom Angels, who went down 7-1 in Lagos against FC Robo. To see if they can bounce back. That's the only team that have been confirmed. They've been relegated because they've not been able to gather enough points to get into the Super 6. So for Edo Queens, they need to also win to get a chance into Super 6. If they don't win this, the next game is a away game. Maybe hard for them to get into the Super 6. All the investment and everything might just be important for all of them, all the teams to actually get something out of this. So Coach Moses Ajuku is actually in trouble right now. He needs to get that victory and get Edo Queens into the Super 6. Austin, a quick one. For these games, which one is getting your own attention?
I would like to see what Edo Queen can do in terms of showing character, in terms of showing that they can, be relevant in that group. And I've also been looking at Rivers Angels. Remember, I spoke about them, last week, and they went away, did their bits to win 1-0. Let's see if they can sustain the momentum. We've said more than enough about Delta Queens and the fantastic season they are having. In all, Cecilia, we must commend women's football management in Nigeria. I don't think we've had it this good, you know. I've not heard of complaints from clubs, even about Angels that had it difficult to get to Lagos. They somehow got there. We've not recorded walkovers. We've not heard complaints about officiating. In the NPFL, there are docking points left, right, and center. We've not heard about that with women's football. So I said it, that the women's game is beautiful. So let's keep supporting it. Let's invest more in it so that it can keep getting better.
I love that aspect, investment. Shagun, let's wrap this up before going to break.
I'm going to line with Austin too. Austin,
investment is key.
Investment is key, and of course, investment, televising, the media. Those are the three key things. I believe that that's the one area that we have liked, because if I want to watch the female football, what do I watch it? Who's going to stream it? So these are issues as regards that, and unless that is sorted out, I think, of course, we've had development. We've had the likes of Bayelsa do great stuff with their team. We've had a couple of guys do stuff. We saw the Delta Queens, Bayelsa Queens, even Edo. But when they also need them to be pushed more on television, on social media. These are areas where people can watch, and that can enhance them to make more money. Of course, quality content, fan growth. These are areas that which the advanced countries beat us. And of course, even South Africa too, with what they are doing, it's what they are doing in their league. I believe that towards the future we can do something as regards that.
All right, something better. Investment is really key for the growth of women's football in Nigeria. After this break, of course, we'll touch on NPFL and also talk about wicked tourists that have been docked 3 points and also fined 2.5 million for fans' trouble. All right, time to talk about Nigeria Professional Football League, the NPFL, at match day 13. Of course, there's a rescheduled game. Lobby Stars and Rivers United will be in action on Wednesday. For Rivers United, they were on the continent, and that's why they couldn't play that game. And just fixtures of that, just confirmation of this particular fixtures, Lobby Stars and Rivers United. They will be in action. For Rivers United, they understand what it means. Just try to win as many games as you can to be able to get back to your top spots. Now, games are coming from the weekend. Okay, that's the rescheduled game that will be played tomorrow, Group B rescheduled fixture. Let's go back to what we saw earlier, which is the games that were played over the weekend, starting from the game between Beda Insurance and Kwara United, which was played on Saturday. It ended 1-1. And of course, for all other games, you have the likes of Enyimba being able to get some victory. All right, let's take a look at it again. Beda Insurance and Kwara United ended 1-1. It was Deputies that also rescued a point for Beda Insurance after they went go down at home. Enyimba and Plateau United, this game was top of the cracker the weekend. Enyimba won by 2-1. Aqua United and of course Nasarawa United settled for a point. Shooting Stars and Ramo Stars, another 1-1 draw. Gombe United and of course Ekanemi, whereas Gombe United beating Ekanemi by 1-0. And of course when you go to Group B, you have Dakada FC and Doma 1-0 in favor of Dakada. Lobby Stars and Abia Warriors was 2-0 in favor of Lobby Stars. Wicked Tourists and Bayelsa United. Bayelsa somehow they know how to get away from home to get all 3 points. They got this one against Wicked Tourists. We'll talk about this Wicked Tourists, this particular match, which has generated a lot of controversy, and that's why they fixed the hammer. The games between Niger Tornadoes and Rivers, it was goalless. And of course, you have Sunshine Stars and Enugu Rangers ending 1-1. Enugu Rangers not having it pretty this season. So let's focus on the main game for the weekend. Yeah, we'll start off with the game between Beda Insurance and of course Kwara United. That match, Austin, we expected like fireworks as usual, expecting more games because Insurance, they've drawn how many games so far now? 4 games in a row, not looking good for them. We expect them to win, playing at home in front of their home fans. You have so many fans coming to the stadium to watch, but then they went a goal down before they were able to get another, well, they equalized and it ended in a draw. Let me start off with Austin first. Austin, I mean, we talked about Insurance that they are walking on a very, very tight rope. Out of 12 points, they've gotten just 4. Like many games they've played so far now, 4 draws in a row. That's 4 points. Instead of having 12, you're having just 4, right? It's not.
Yeah, but I listened to Coach Monday Odige, and he says 4 draws is better than 4 losses, and that's so true. You know,
Okay.
and if you check the way Bendel Insurance have recorded these 4 draws, you will commend them. They are always coming from behind.
Yes.
That's good fight. That's good character, you know. And I mean, teams can concede this way. It was a beautiful taking free kick to give Kwara United the lead. And let me tell you, it's not easy to play Kwara United now. And you see how excited the players were because they are fighting to stay in the NPFL. They're not in a good position at the moment. And this is Kwara United that played continental football last season. So that tells you the pressure they are going through just to ensure that they stay constant. Now, this man, Deputy Cheta Animade, I don't know what Bendel Insurance should do for them. They just seem to always turn up when you want them to turn up. You know, and just imagine if Bendel Insurance had not, you know, drawn this game. It would have done something terrible to their mentality, to their case to end the season on top of the Group A table, and no win, no problem, because Aqua United, that was breathing down their neck, didn't even win. Also, they played a draw, so they will be saying, oh, good or bad, they are still on top of the table. But 4 draws, yeah, I know it will worry the fans, the state governor and the deputy governor. They were at that game also, and I'm sure they would have been hoping to, you know, end that draw run, but it didn't happen. Let's listen to reactions from that one, and I'm sure Shegun will jump on some of his analysis as regards that game.
Well, we were not as fortunate as we have expected to be. Our team clearly showed more superiority. You could see they dominated the match, but they were just not lucky enough in terms of goals. But they've done well. This is their 13th match, unbeaten. They draw at home. We expected them to win, but their performance, their outing was quite encouraging. And the whole idea today was to invite those citizens to come and watch their home team, Bendel Insurance, and support their home team and begin to recreate that culture of coming out to watch matches, as part of events in the city.
Yeah, we expected Bendel Insurance to win today's match. Haven't defeated Kwara United at home, but out of 6 points, 4 points is still good, and we are still leading, and we still remain unbeaten. We would have wanted a win, but a draw was not too bad. Actually, we are not there yet. The governor has given us a mandate to make sure that insurance play in the continent next year. And the starting point is to win this league and also win Super 6. And now it's obvious that we've qualified for Super 6 with today's draw. But what is key now is to prepare for Super 6 so that we can actually meet the target that the governor has given to us.
And Shegun, that's all fans of Bendel Insurance needs to hear. They are on top of the Group A table with 27 points. I told you Aqua United didn't win, so they are second with 23 points. And the deputy governor just said clearly that now they are good for the Super 6.
Yeah, he said they're good for the Super 6. I think that they've had a wonderful form. They're unbeaten in general. They have a good form at home. Although the past 4 games have been a bit rough and tumble for them, because you cannot have 4 draws in a row. 4 draws in a row, because it affects your form, it affects the players' confidence. And they're playing at home. On paper, you think that since they're strong at home, that when they're playing Kwara United, who are third from the bottom, they should be able to get their result. But Kwara United are fighting for. They are fighting for their lives, They're fighting for every turn because they don't want to be relegated. One, they are also technically a household name. They have also players. A couple of 1 or 2 players are veterans in the game. They are veterans in the NPFL. So you believe that they are going to fight for it, and going down a goal first before they come back just showed for that they had that power and the nitty-gritty for them to. But I believe that maybe people are looking forward in other games coming forth. They should be able to win more games, because you can't keep drawing. Draws are just more like relegation form. And I believe that like the governor said that they're looking forward to at least maintain top sports, make it to Super 6, and at least, because when you're top of the table, you get an easier draw, supposedly. So I believe that Bendel Insurance should be able to look forward to how tactical issues on how they can win more games and not to not concede first, because I think the past 2 games or 3 games they conceded first, and it has affected the uptide in how the game the game is went. So I believe that they have the right form to do stuff for coming forth in the forthcoming weeks.
Yeah. Interesting talking about them. I mean, they started with the game against it was Eimba, and then Akwa United, Plateau United, and now Kwara. And in the first three teams, there's a big side. I mean, they've perennial campaigners of the NPFL. Eimba, not a small team. Akwa United, of course, former champions. Then you have Plateau United, also former champions. But it's only Kwara United that seems to be like, okay, maybe a smaller team, so to speak, that they could have easily won against, but they just couldn't get that. We're getting 4 out of 12. Not so good. But let's hope maybe the next game they'll back to that winning run that they started. Austin, this one, let's jump on this one. I mean, Wiki Tourists is the third team this season to be docked points. We're trying to compare what NWFL is doing, not having those violent conduct by fans. But then Wiki Tourists right now are becoming the third team in the Nigeria Professional Football League to be docked point, and not a good one for them. The ruling body this afternoon noted that this was actually signed by the chief operating officer. Talking about Davidson Owumi, who said that, I mean, Wiki Tourists, obviously, when he signed the statement, that they will be facing a fine of 2.5 million naira in total. 3 points will be docked. 3 goals also will be deducted. And, of course, the stadium will be closed to fans for the rest of the season. That's what Wiki Tourists will be facing because of what they did. Now, the issue is that according to the findings, reports of matchday 9, which is the week 13 game we talked about earlier between Bayelsa United and, of course, Wiki Tourists, said the club was fined 1 million naira for failing to provide adequate security for the match officials before, during, and after the game, which resulted in the assault of the match officials. And the second charge was also the fact that where they were deducted 3 points and 3 goals was because they assaulted the match officials. And the third, which is also breaching the rule B13.18, the club was fined 500,000 naira for failure to provide adequate security, implement effective crowd control, resulting in fans actually throwing objects to the field of play, targeting match officials, and also disrupting play. That's a whole lot. And of course, they were also ordered to pay a compensation fee to the match officials of about 250,000 naira each. So for each of those match officials, they will pay them 250,000 naira each for what they did. So they have 48 hours in accordance with the rule to actually, you know, put in the writing ruling for this before this to accept or reject this particular ruling. You would say IMC were really swift in this one, just match day 13 on Sunday, Easter Sunday. And today's Tuesday, I mean, punishment already given.
Yeah, you can see, Cecilia, I've got straight face, you know, to talk about this one. The issue of security. Security is the major reason why we don't have away wins in the NPFL. When people come at the NPFL and say they don't always see away wins, is because of poor security, because the match officials are scared, because the home team will not provide adequate security. So the away team will even be scared of, you know, putting in their best because you might end up winning and then you are not safe. I'm glad that the IMC, they are coming hard on all of these teams that don't want to do things professionally. And the good thing is that Bayelsa United won that match. It ended 2-1. You see, so it's more on Wiki Tourists now because they will be looking at themselves and say, well, we have done more harm to ourselves than good, because you would have just taken that loss and just go and find ways to get better in your next match, because Wiki Tourists has also gone away to win. Do you know that this season, in this abridged league, we've recorded away wins from the start? Only match day 8, the league didn't record away wins. And that's because of how firm the IMC they've been. That it's not just Wiki Tourists that they came hard on. Let me give you this update. The performance of the match commissioner, Mr. Idris Mustafa, in that match between Wiki Tourists and Bayelsa United has been referred for a review by the NFF. The IMC requests that it should be excused from further participation in matches till further notice. And you see this one I'm talking about. When people that are in match commissioners or even club chairmen, everybody that is involved in bringing the league to disrepute, they should be kept aside. And I like it so much. It's not just Wiki Tourists. Sunshine Stars too. They are looking at them. They've not been docked points yet. but they did not provide adequate security. And the IMC, they have ordered Sunshine Sharks to pay 500,000 naira within 14 days. These are the sort of things we should keep doing so that the league will get better.
So that others can also learn. And updates for that also, Abdullahi Adamu, the coach of Wiki Tories, he has resigned, citing the interference from the management of the team. So that's the reason he's leaving the team. Remember, Kabiru Dogo earlier this season also resigned from his position and Abdullahi took over. But right now, they will be without a coach, and they're actually at the bottom of Group B table following that loss to Bayelsa United on Sunday. Not really looking good for them. Okay, we just have confirmation of what the Abridged League table is looking like before we go to the Champions League briefly. Now, the abridged version, you have Better Insurance, of course, after 13 matches, 27 points, a goal difference of 10, yet to lose, 7 wins and 6 draws. That's what they're known for. Akwa United second on the table, 23 points after 13 games. You have Enyimba also in the top 3. And of course, bottom, you have Economic Warriors and Nasarawa United. That's what is looking at. Economic Warriors, of course, still 2 wins this season are looking good. Same with Nasarawa United. Let's flip over to Group B, where you have Lobby Stars topping this group, 23 games. They will be playing Rivers United, top of the table clash for that rescheduled games they will be having. Niger Tornadoes, of course, complete the top 3. They have the Dakada and Wiki Tories. We talked about Wiki Tories, who have just won 3 games this season, followed by Dakada FC, of course. After how many? 13, they are on 11 points. Not really looking good for these teams. That's what the table is looking like. Quickly, we'll touch down on the games going on in the UEFA Champions League. Austin, if we have much updates from the game between Bayern and, of course, Manchester City right there at Etihad.
Before we go into Manchester City and Bayern Munich, surprise, surprise, the game between Benfica and Inter Milan, it's in the 82nd minute, and it's the visitors, Inter Milan, that look like they will run away with a victory. It's 1-0. Barella's goal in the 51st minute is all that Inter Milan is holding on to. That's a big surprise for me because Benfica, they're pretty good at home, but that's not the story football is giving today.
All right.
Cecilia, I hear this and no peace. It's Manchester City 3, Bayern Munich 0. Pep Guardiola and his team, they are not joking. They want this Champions League so bad that they're taking all sort of pressure and just play football for the love of the game. In the first half, 27th minute, Rodri gave Pep Guardiola's team the lead. They went into the break 1-0, and then they came back. Second half, Bernardo Silva in the 70th minute made it 2-0. Guess who provided the assist? Erling Haaland. And then minutes later, Haaland scored his goal. Manchester City 3, Bayern Munich 0.
When you have a chance to beat Bayern Munich, just beat them silly until whatever happened in second leg. Just a brief one, 30 seconds from you, and Dusty will have to go because it's already time. We have just 1 minute to wrap up the show.
I think that Pep went back to the basics, and that's why we've seen the result there.
All right, Austin, gotta go.
Yeah, so I just quickly had to look to see, just in case, you know, they've added one more. As you said, if you have a chance to beat Bayern Munich, do it just right. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonagban. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Shago Vincent, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cecilia. And hopefully, by God's grace, I will say I want to see your tailor so that I can.
All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogwe. Have a great night rest.